Folks, I know a lot of you think, God, Chris Christie, what a scumbag.
That's precisely what I think.
And
how embarrassing it is that he was popular.
And how can someone be this low? How could one explain the idea that you would shut down the government functions of New Jersey, but basically allow yourself to go and use one of New Jersey's state park beaches just because you can? Well, here is Chris Christie explaining to all of you morons why he could do that and how what he did was not that big of a deal.
I understand it's a holiday weekend and the news channels don't have anything else to cover. And when I answered Claude's question yesterday, or the day before, whatever day it was, I don't count going out on the beach after I've been working all morning to sit and talk with my wife and our guests for 40 minutes before I had to leave to come back to work as getting sun. That wasn't what I was out there to get. The way I took Claude's question was, hey, were you like out laying out getting a tan today? That wasn't what I was doing, and that's not what those pictures show. Sitting there with a baseball hat and shorts and a T-shirt talking to my wife and talking to our guests. I don't apologize for it. I don't back away from it. And I think my poll numbers show that I don't care about political optics. What I care about is doing what's right and wrong. And what was right for my family was for my family to be together and for me to be with them and to do what we were doing.
I like the idea. First off, I got to say, that's a great tan that he has. I don't know where he could have gotten that. Clearly from working, not from sitting on the beach not getting sun. But I like that he is going to the old defense of like, was I with my family? Yes. And my friends? Yes. Is that a crime? Well, if it is, then guilty. That should be the defense for everybody. Was I here on the planet sharing oxygen with animals and nature? Yes, I was while I was beating up that person. But if it's a crime to share oxygen with other living, beautiful beings, then guilty.
It's a crime to be a grotesque
Also,
hypocrite.
let me just add this. One more reason, particularly if you live in New Jersey, or really if you're anywhere on the East Coast, to hate Chris Christie. You'll recall that in 2010, really actually in 2009, the Obama administration and Congress passed a stimulus bill. Part of that stimulus bill involved funding for critical infrastructure projects that were needed around the country. One of those critical infrastructure projects was called ARC, Access to the Region's Core. It was a tunnel that was going to be built alongside the existing Hudson Railroad tunnels under the Hudson River, because the existing ones are very old and suffered during Hurricane Sandy. He refused that money, that federal funding, because he needed to show that he was putting some distance between himself and Obama. Ostensibly, it was because he was afraid of overruns. Understand that within the next decade, they're going to have to shut that tunnel down. And it's going to cut down on 75% of the travel that goes from New York City south to New Jersey, to Washington, D.C., to anywhere else across the country. New York is obviously one of the nation's largest train hubs, if not the. Maybe Chicago's up there too. So on mid-June, June 13th, Chris Christie says the Gateway Tunnel faces no delays despite lacks of dollars in the Trump budget. There was another project coming that was put together with the hopes of building that tunnel. From NJ.com, Governor Chris Christie on Tuesday professed confidence that the proposed Gateway Tunnel under the Hudson River will proceed without delays, even though President Trump's most recent budget eliminated a crucial source of funding for it. I had a very good conversation last week with Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, and I absolutely believe we'll be partnering with the federal government and the state of New York to build a Gateway Tunnel, and there won't be any delays of our current time frame. And then July 3rd, U.S. Department of Transportation has pulled out of the group leading the $23 billion Gateway program that includes digging a new rail tunnel under the Hudson River. So in 10 years, or within 10 years, when this transportation infrastructure disaster hits, I hope it's named after Chris Christie. So if you can't get down to Washington, D.C. from New York or Virginia or New Jersey or Georgia, if you can't get to any points west of New York, you just refer to it as being Christied. Really stunning. I mean, just amazing.
And really stunning how he was just endlessly feted by Morning Joe and all of the like mediocre hack prestige press. And basically building a brand for himself off of yelling at teachers.
No labels.
By ranting at teachers while he slashed taxes. And his whole background as a lobbyist and also he was one of the attorneys for Bush, right?
He was one of the attorneys from Bush, and he had and he was there just basically because he was a big fundraiser.
Big fundraiser, right?
For George Bush.
Yeah, such garbage.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos